can sit on that love seat.
See right here too.
That's all. All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
We the real Hebrew Israelites come week in, week out, day in, day out. The prophesy the downfall and destruction of America, which in the scriptures is Babylon the Great. Before we get started, we're going to give all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash.
Yahweh is the true name from the word ignorantly and incorrectly called God. Yahweh Shai is the true holy and powerful name from the word ignorantly and incorrectly called Jesus Christ. Ba'ashem, Ba'ashem, Ha is blood, Shem is name. Rakakwadash, Rakah being spirit, Kodash being holy, which is the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who rule and teach well. Peace and blessing, safety to the Lord's elect. All right, we the brothers from the Great Millstone Cleveland Church, coming back at you with another live stream. And Lord, will listen to this edifying to remember the Lord's elect. And we just going in the spirit of what we, been talking about off camera about there being no schisms in the body, and pretty much how every brother within the body has a role. And it's significant because the body is kind of like an ecosystem because everything works in cohesion. The heart pumps, the veins carry the blood that the heart pumps. I ain't a scientist or nothing like that, but it's just like a vehicle too. Just making an analogy of a car. All the parts in the car is necessary, and if you take away one part of the car, the vehicle breaks down. It might not be immediately, the car might not immediately shut off, but over time, the performance is going to decline, and then eventually, it's going to be through. So it's the same thing with the body. You got greater members in the body, like the eye, the ear, the nose, the mouth, the head. But then you have lesser members of the body as well. You have smaller members of the body, and each part of the body is needed, is necessary. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a smaller part of the body, you're necessary. If you're a greater part of the body, you're necessary. And brothers got to maintain that confidence too, because it says in Hebrews that the confidence have great recompense of reward. You gotta, I believe the elder Kazak and the elder Jeremiah, Chicago, they did a lesson years ago titled basically grasp the idea of the Lord dealing with you. You gotta actually channel the idea that the Lord is dealing with you. That's that confidence, which confidence is synonymous with faith. Okay? And that way you could be a good functioning, a proper functioning, a high level functioning part of the body. Because you got confidence that you're needed, I'm necessary, and the things that I'm doing is bringing forth benefit for the body of Yahweh Shai. Okay? Y'all got script? I see you guys doing something.
Real quick, well, you got it, because I go ahead.
Nah, go ahead, bro.
Real quick, two real quick. This is Salaki. Romans 12 and 4.
Spirit.
Come on! Everybody.
Go ahead.
It's saying,
I had it too.
Well, I'll start at 3 then. It says, for I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly according as Yahweh hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. Right? Because every man has a different, every man has the gift of faith being in his ministry, but it's according to a certain type of measure, according to that brother's lot, and the spirit that was given unto him is the measure of faith that every brother has, man. So that's a level of confidence, that certain brothers do have. and with that being said, that determines their role in the body, or their office in the ministry.
Well, if I can add to you, bro, because don't forget, even the Apostle Thomas, now he was apostle that walked with Yahweh Shai. But what happened? He needed to. Yeah, exactly. But does that make him not a man of the Lord? No. But the scripture talk about that every man is given according to his measure of faith.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have men that's gonna have less faith, but they're still functioning bodies or functioning members of the body.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got
And it's cold too, if I can add. Because even too, like what the brother was talking about, he posted a precept earlier talking about the assembly, not deviating from the lesson. But when you're around the body, you're around brothers and the stuff that they deal with. You know what I'm saying? You expose to certain things that men deal with. Scripture talking about iron sharpening iron.
Mm-hmm.
You may be watching a man go through something that you ain't necessarily been through per se, and it'll strengthen you in the faith. You're like, damn, like that's cold that he ate. Matter of fact, it's called, like the brother said before the study, you know, brothers that sit in the room, we gave the brother your crumbs and stuff. Not being privy to what was really going on in his life, he's like, damn, I ain't know it was like this. You know what I'm saying? That could boost your faith. You know what I'm saying? Because you're watching how another brother overcomes in the spirit. You gotta go.
Because ultimately the same afflictions are accomplishing our brother in the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So no matter what position you have, if you were the head of the camp or you just crossed over, you still have an important role in this ministry. You know? You got it out.
Wow. It says, verse 4, for as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office. Right? Those many members are different parts of the body. All right? And there's multiple parts of the body that make up the one body, which is in Yahweh Shai.
That's right.
You know, like you were saying off camera, Yaquan, Yahweh Shai, he made a parable to his disciples that the things that you do it to each other, you do it to me. You know, basically saying when I was hungered, you fed me. When I was thirsty, all right, you gave me drink, and so forth and so on. When you do it to one of these little ones, you're doing it to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, it says, verse 5, so we being many are one body in Hamashiach, and every one members one of another.
Yeah, because Yahweh Shai, the disciples was arguing about who would be the greatest in the kingdom. Get that in Matthew 18. It was arguing because the disciples they wanted to know which one of them was the greatest disciple. They were like, Lord, I'm the best, right, Lord? You know, and he told them, right, look, he said that whosoever is greatest of you shall be serving of all. Okay, and you know we got a great example in our camp. The head of our camp, the elder Tomiah, he's always ready to serve. He's always ready to make the sacrifice for brothers. You know, and we see the example that our elders and apostles said. You know, we know they sacrificed years of their life. They sacrificed things just to give us the truth, man. You know, so how much more we see the brothers that just crossed over, now it's your turn to make those sacrifices. Okay, like the elder Irishah, he sent the picture to the chat today. You know, you look like a baby. You know what I'm saying? Ra'ai look like a young man. Irishah look like a baby. You know, baby faces. That's what I mean by that, baby faces. You know what I'm saying? And it show you that we all enter into other men's labors. All of us entered into the apostles' labors, but then whatever your local camp is in that city, you entered into them men's labors that was before you. Brothers grew up on the highways and byways. That's what I thought when I seen that picture. I said, they grew up on the highways and byways, bro. Like, that's how long some brothers been out there, you know?
I like that precept. This is St. Matthew 18 and verse 1. It says that, and at the same time, came the disciples unto Yahweh Shai, saying, who was the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Right. And Yahweh Shai called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Right, you know, coming into a level of humility, and humbling yourself, and you know, basing yourself, and basically, because a child, one thing about a child is they humble. And they very receptive to information. They not trying to, you know, debate you on every point. You know what I'm saying? As a child, they don't know enough to even debate you. You know what I'm saying? They don't know enough to rebuttal. You know. So read that one again.
This is St. Matthew 18, and it says, and said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven.
If I can add to it, children are submissive. To be submissive is obedience, man. And that's how you have to be. You have to come into this truth with a submissive mind. And you basically have to relearn everything like a child.
Keep going.
It says, verse 4, St. Matthew 18 and verse 4, it says, whosoever therefore shall humble himself as a little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven.
I don't know if that's exactly what I wanted, but that's a good one though. You know what I'm saying?
Because when you're a child, man, a child understand, like, you know what I'm saying, they gotta be taught. You know what I'm saying? You can teach a child. You know what I'm saying? It's like my grandma used to give this analogy for like adults and children. But she used it in reference to trees. Like when a tree becomes like when a tree develops that stump, you no longer bend it anymore. But when you're a child, like when it's a plant, now you can bend the plant the way you want to bend it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's young, so that's how the child's mind is. You gotta bend children the way you basically train them to the way they want to part when they grow. You know what I'm saying? Trying to do it later when they stuck in their ways. You know what I'm saying? So the scripture talks about wine being put into old bottles. You know what I mean? Because they can't conform now.